Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief APGAINS here, and we're going to talk about the best Zetas in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. There are a lot of them, so not only are we going to talk about the best Zetas, we're also going to teach you guys how to pick what Zetas are good for your account. Everyone's account's a little bit different, so we want to give you guys the tools so you don't have to keep watching these videos over and over again. You can learn yourself and then make your own decisions in the future. Now, there are hundreds of characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Throughout your different journeys, you're going to have different ones. You're going to have some characters. You're going to have some characters that you're never going to have. I mean, there are so many characters, you can't possibly have them all. But we're going to go over which Zetas are probably the best. Now, here's the blanket rule before I talk about which should be your first Zetas if you're a new player, or maybe just what are the most powerful Zetas in the game. If you want to identify what a good Zeta is, what do we have to do? Well, the first thing we have to do is think about which teams do we have already and which teams are we going to have in the future. For example, this account right here is almost 2 years old, almost 4 million GP, has one Galactic Legend, lots of great teams, dominates in Grand Arena, all sorts of fun stuff like that. So I have plenty of teams and plenty of Zetas, but let's say I didn't have all these characters. Let's say that I was farming up a bounty hunter team, right? So I would go to my bounty hunters and say, I have a bounty hunter team and I'm going to continue to use them in the future. What are some good Zetas? Well, you want to identify, especially on the leadership characters. The leadership characters oftentimes have the best Zetas because they're the Zetas that really make the team function. Now, this is not always the case. We'll talk about some examples of that. But for this instance, Bosk is going to primarily be your leadership unless you're super endgame and you got really great mods, and then we'll talk about some other stuff like that. But Bosk leadership Zeta helps you recover protection and health every time you apply or attempt to apply a debuff. So this basically makes your bounty hunters super, super, super hard to kill. It's a fantastic Zeta, one of the greatest early game Zetas that there is, but even throughout all of the game, it's an amazing Zeta. But let's say we don't have a bounty hunter team. This kind of thinking still applies. If we go bounty hunter team, okay, a powerful Zeta, now we're going to go to some other characters. What are some utility Zetas that really make this team work? Now, what's a great thing about the bounty hunters? They recover, they're fairly quick, and they prevent revives. Bosk has a Zeta, or has an ability that prevent revives. I'm wearing my, or not Bosk, I said Bosk, but I meant Boba. I'm wearing my Boba Fett shirt right now to tell you guys that never apply the Boba Fett Zeta. It's awful. Might be one of the worst, most pointless Zetas in the game. But Jango Fett, if we go over to Jango Fett, I think it's his unique Zeta, I believe. Yes, his unique Zeta. Now, this is a great utility Zeta because it prevents enemies from being revived. And without this Zeta, if Jango were to kill someone, they could be revived. You have to think, I'm going to use this team against, Night Sisters or Jedi or something like that, and they oftentimes revive themselves. So that's how you would identify, in a broad sense, how to apply Zetas for a specific team. Now, let's talk about what the specific best Zetas are out there. Now, everyone's going to know this already if you've done a little bit of research in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but the first relic and Zeta on any account, no matter what you're farming for, should always be Darth Vader's Merciless Massacre. He gives the best early game value. He's a fantastic character. Even after he was nerfed a couple of months ago, he's still absolutely amazing, and Merciless Massacre is by far the greatest Zeta in the entire game. It's so groundbreakingly changing that it completely transforms who this character is, and that's why it's the best Zeta, as well as the best first relic. So your first Zeta, without a doubt, no matter what you're farming, if you're rushing a Galactic Legend, if you're farming a bunch of teams, if you're doing some random nonsense, Merciless Massacre should be your first Zeta. After that, it's going to depend on what you're farming. I know a lot of you guys are, for some reason, going to farm Galactic Legends, and although that's not the optimal strategy, and definitely not the most fun, some of you guys maybe really like Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, you love the sequels or whatever. It's a game, you're allowed to have fun. I'm not going to disparage you for making that choice, but you're going to want to apply Zetas to the powerful first order teams. If you're going to go for a more skilled approach, you would go for things like Padme, CLS, the Bounty Hunters, stuff like that. Both of Padme's Zetas are fantastic. I'd say they're both top 5 Zetas. Basically, her mechanic is, when she has her protection up, she can't be debuffed, and her protection up turns into courage, which gives huge health-based offense, or damage rather, to her team. So both her leadership and her always a choice Zeta are fantastic. Now, since you already have invested 2 Zetas into Padme, another great Zeta is going to be Anakin Zeta. Anakin has a fantastic Zeta, Righteous Fury, where basically if Padme is, so he takes an extra turn if someone drops below 50% health, or maybe it's 50% health. And this Zeta just allows Padme to take another turn. So let's say GK or Ahsoka drop. Anakin throws out a big hit. Remember, you have the Padme Zeta, so he's got lots of courage. He's doing tons of damage. Now what happens is Padme takes another turn, so she can either kick to stun and call a mass assist, use her basic to apply more protection up to help guard the team a little bit, or even heal and get all those characters back up to full health. So as you can see, this Zeta goes really well into that. And then after that, some powerful Zetas are the rest of the team. I mean, GK has a great Zeta, Ahsoka has a great Zeta, and Yoda has a great Zeta. So as you can see, we applied a Zeta to a good team, and therefore that kind of led into this chain reaction of applying all of the other powerful Zetas on the Padme team, because the Padme team has only good Zetas except for Yoda's leadership, which you will never use, and it's one of the worst Zetas in the game. But all the Zetas on the Padme team are fantastic. Now let's say you went CLS over Padme. CLS team has a lot of great Zetas as well. Let me just filter for Rebels really quickly just to make this a little bit easier. Chewbacca has, I would probably apply Chewbacca's Zeta first. There's always this argument, like, should you apply Han Solo's Zeta or Chewbacca's? I think Chewbacca's is without a doubt the better Zeta than Han Solo's Zeta. And I'm talking about a Loyal Friend as opposed to Raging Wookiee. This one's okay as well, but it's more once you've built up enough Zetas on the very, very important and crucial Zetas. But Loyal Friend, similar to Boss, just allows you to recover 3% health and protection every time he attacks, and he'll be attacking a lot, and you'll be undermanning a lot. This is going to lead to huge banners in Grand Arena, making it super hard for your opponent, not only to beat it if you place on defense, but to stop it from getting 62, 63 banners on offense when you go in GAC. So a fantastic Zeta. Han Solo Zeta basically just allows him to attack again. When he uses basically, he attacks again, dealing 50% less damage. It gives more offense, but I think just the game changiness, if that makes sense, of Chewbacca's Zeta is far more valuable early game than Han Solo's Zeta. But you get Zetas relatively quickly, on average about every 10 or so, 10 to 14 days, you'll get another Zeta. So if you apply one, it's going to be quick before you apply the other, so it's no huge deal. Sorry. I just had lunch, so excuse me if I burp on camera. That'd be kind of gross. What are some other fantastic Zetas? Well, obviously, both Darth Revan and Jedi Knight Revan have some useful Zetas. Jedi Knight Revan, you want to apply all of them. I still don't even have the third Zeta on Darth Revan. This is the Zeta I don't like. I don't know why I don't like this Zeta. I mean, equalizing health, I just feel like it's a banner stealer. I'll probably apply it at some point. I don't particularly care all that much. But both of the Revan teams have great Zetas. Another fantastic Zeta, a lot of you guys are going to have early Bastila Shan Jedi or Jedi Knight Revan Jedi teams. Jolie Bindo's Zeta is always, will always, has always, will be fantastic. He literally brings people back from the dead, revives Jedi allies at 80% health with crit immunity for 5 turns. This is a game changer. You're going to go against a lot of teams in the future where your Jedi Knight Revan team might be under-geared, under-relicked, or just completely out-countered. And Jolie Bindo being high health and protection from, being relicked or being high gear or having good mods or however you decide to make your Jolie hard to kill, just bringing Jedi back. How many of you guys, maybe who are more experienced players, have brought in Jedi Knight Revan against General Grievous, and you've been on the brink of death with only Jolie Bindo left? He's got like 10% health, and he brings back the whole team. You end up getting 60 banners. It's a huge shift. Fantastic Zeta. A couple of other key Zetas that are awesome are the rest of Darth Vader's Zetas. They're all awesome. I mean, we've talked about a lot of them. CLS has a couple of good Zetas. Fives has a good Zetas, though I don't really prescribe pushing 501st clone super early unless you're doing a gas rush, and in that case that's fine. Geonosian Brood Alpha has a great Zeta. Never apply Bastila Shan's leadership Zeta unless you have Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. And there are just a ton of great Zetas out there. But hopefully you've learned how to apply and figure out which Zetas are going to be good for your team. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, let me know. As always, I love you guys, and I'll see you later.